Hey everybody, it's Chris Therien, aka Bundy, and you are watching Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What is happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rigarelia? What are you saying, buddy?
Not much. Just dealing with some technical difficulties of a mic issue today. So here we are.
I think you've some of me has rubbed off on you with your
right.
technology.
I'm going to blame it on the technology. It's not the operator, Nast. This is not the operator.
Yeah, I hear you. What's going on?
So what's going on in the hockey world? Round 2 is underway, Nast.
Yeah, underway. As we are recording our pre and post for this week's show. Pretty interesting first round, man. A lot of game sevens, which was awesome.
Oh man, no kidding.
Just
Dog
so much
fight.
fun. Yeah, so much fun to watch, man. That I tell you what, that Dallas Calgary series. I mean, I think Calgary's probably in the end a better team, but Oettinger and net for Dallas, and I mean they just battled. Michael Raffle, man. I was messaging with him during the series, but he got hit the other night. I mean, you talk about a war. This guy, he went through a war on the ice, you know, like he got hit the other night, and I saw it posted. I must have missed it during the game, and I sent it to Scott Lawton. I sent him the video, and he goes, "Man, he just takes a beating, and he just keeps getting up."
He's a big bod, man. He's a big body.
He is a big. I don't think people understand how big of a guy Raffy is and how strong he is.
Just 30.
You know, Chuck kind of found out, and I think it was game 1 where Raffy got in a little tilly, and I would say Raffle got the best of it.
I agree.
But anyway, what a series, man. And, you know, Johnny Gaudreau, good for him getting that, you know, overtime goal.
Oh, yeah, that's huge,
I mean,
right?
I thought Dallas was going to win because I didn't think Oettinger could be scored on. I mean, the way he was playing and
like
confidence. That, right? But, man, if his career keeps going this way, he's going to have a hell of a career. He's only 23 years old, you know. But anyway, looking forward to the Panthers and the Lightning. Almost said the Heat. The Lightning and the Panthers series, obviously with buddies of ours on both teams. So, you know, but I think Florida might get by them this year. I know your prediction's already done, so you're not allowed to say anything.
Way off with it.
You lost. Hey, but Karts and Sid and the boys appreciated your pick.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was legit.
You know, they were up 3-1.
Goaltending.
And the poor Louis Domingue, I mean, he did the best he could, and God bless him, man. That's tough step in a series like that. But that first night when he came in overtime and stopped all 13 shots was pretty impressive. They ended up winning that game, and it looked like they were going to win that series, you know. But never know. That's why they play the games, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we got to bring up the Toronto Tampa series just briefly because
you can.
What a series!
I guess thank God for you guys, Calgary's still in it, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah, we got the Battle of Alberta going on, so that makes up for Toronto. And Toronto just can't get over the hump, man. It's just back to square one. What a year they had too, and then to go out like that, man. Jeez,
it's funny. I was watching Steve Stamkos do his post game interview with the media. And they were asking him about that, and he's like, he basically gave them a lot of credit. He goes, "You don't understand. They're a really good team." He goes, "But you know, it happened with us too. You have to get over that hump. Once you get over it once, you know, it's mental, and you almost could just feel it, even though we're not there. That oh boy, game 7, you know, and how many times in the last few years has it blown up on them? Remember years ago when JBR was still in Toronto, and they had that meltdown against Boston that night to go on to the second round. And it's just, you know, last year you kind of feel for those guys because you know they're giving it everything they have. but it's almost like a mental block. And you can't take anything away from Tampa either, man. Like,
oh yeah, they know how to win. I mean,
if you're in a game 7, you probably don't want to play Tampa just because.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. They're the most experienced.
You know, and they're going without, Point gets hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a major part of their team.
Yeah.
But they know how to win, and it's scary. I mean, they're a scary team. So, yeah, no, I did feel bad for Toronto, but, man, it is what it is.
Yeah. And then old Mitch Marner got hijacked. How about that?
Oh, man.
What a shame.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy, eh? It's crazy.
Like, what's wrong with people? Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, right? Like,
it's
probably a better way to express your frustrations than hijacking a car from.
Well, they said, I read something, and it could have been wrong because you never know, but they said that the guys that did it didn't realize it was Mitch Marner.
Oh, really? Just a young looking guy that couldn't defend himself and look vulnerable.
Yeah, he's not a very big guy.
No, he's not
like
at all.
me getting carjacked. I'd be like,
yeah, exactly. Look at that. Prime for the taking right there. Big target on your back.
It is scary though. I mean,
no, that's terrible.
It's not a good thing, but
thank
God he's okay, and he's got enough money to buy another car if they did get it.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Hopefully, the best insurance around.
Exactly.
All right, now episode 74, Bundy in studio, 2.0.
Beauty.
You had a beauty. I think we're ready to rock.
Let's do it.
Episode 74 presented to you by Curaleaf, curaleaf.com, medical marijuana dispensary. Check them out for all your pain management needs. Curaleaf.com. Episode 74. Let's go, Nast.
Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre. And this week, we have our main man in 2.0.
2.0.
He does it all. A Flyers legend. Played here forever. He's got Snow the Goalie podcast.
Yes, sir.
You do?
Yes, sir. Friend of the show, by the way.
Yes. Pennsylvania. Your rehab center, recovery center. You do it all. Mr. Chris Therien. Welcome to the show, brother.
Guys, love you. You know that. I mean, I've been on here before. I think I came on like 8th or 9th last year when you guys started, so that was high enough for me. Anytime you're top 10 in anything that's
big
good.
time,
you're
right?
top 10 for sure.
Great to be back, though, guys. You guys have a great show. Watch it every week. Great guests and great hockey coverage. So let's rock it for a little while here. And here we go.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. We appreciate having you, dog. You know that, man. You're my main man. We've been buddies a long time, man.
Long time.
And speaking of your show, like you guys do a great job too, man. We listen.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I love the rants. I love the. I shouldn't even say rants. It's pretty much factual.
Yeah, right?
I just love
Bundy talking.
I love the intensity. I love the intensity. That's for sure. But I just wanted to start off, dog, talking about the playoffs. What are your thoughts right now in these series?
Well, I'll tell you what. Coming off the heels of that Tampa Toronto game the other night, the overtime game where Point scores the winner. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? Like, what a great game. I think it's been up and down, in terms of, like, Nashville and Colorado. They've been done for so long.
Yeah, I know, right?
Forgot the series is on. And then, then you go to our buddy Chief. I mean, like, what a good coach he is. Like, I mean, so you look at the series, right? They're down. They get thumped in game 3.
Right.
They're down 2-1. That's a pretty tough spot to be in. And what does Chief and his team do? They just run through them, right? 3 straight.
Yeah.
Just remarkable. Really an amazing coach. But he's got the right guys, and he's been able to push the buttons. Playoffs have been good, guys. I mean, I think, L.A., I mean, there's probably series that are closer than I thought they might have been, like Washington, Florida, even Calgary, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
At L.A., L.A. is like kind of greasy with good goaltending, and they're making it interesting at Edmonton. But Boston, Carolina, great series.
Yeah, no doubt.
I didn't think it would go 7 after those first 2 games, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
all home teams, right?
Yeah,
they're all winning those games. Yeah, so
now it's a toss-up, man. Game 7. You know that. Like, who knows what happens now?
Yeah.
Same with the Rangers, right? Like the Rangers going to Pittsburgh. And I was reading some of the stuff from last night. Like they're a favorite tonight in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
With Crosby out. most likely out with the upper body injury, which probably I'm guessing must be a head injury.
I mean, he was hit right.
Actually, I can speculate now. Yeah, it's a head injury.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Too many years doing the broadcast.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't speculate.
You could see, like, as soon as he was hit, went down, he got up, went right to the bench. Like, you could tell he knew something wasn't right there. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty entertaining. Like you said with Chief, like, man, did they turn it on? And he made that switch, and I was kidding around. Benner made me nervous the first night, Bennington.
Yep.
Like, watching him, and he just looked like he was kind of fighting, but of course he hasn't played either in a while. But he did it. I mean, he played well in the last three games, obviously.
And there's so many buttons you have to push in a playoff series too, right? Like, you get in there and you try to figure out, like, where everybody's at. When guys come in the morning of a game, you kind of look at everybody, see where they're at, and then you're managing your goaltending situation too, because guys get sensitive.
Oh yeah.
I'm not starting tonight. But for some reason, Chief gets guys to get past that and focus on what the task is, and that's the game and winning that game and moving on. Closing out a series, it's funny when you look at all these series, it's been really hard to close series out. Now, Colorado did it.
Right.
And Craig Berube did it last night. The other games, a lot of them are going 7 and are dragging along. He closed out that thing in 6.
Yeah.
That was big.
Yeah, they played well. I mean, he is a great coach. We know that.
He's a great friend of ours. So obviously, and a Flyer, certainly had all the characteristics of the Flyers over the years. So, but I mean, just a great guy, great coach, and it's for some reason, and by the way, like I don't know Florida and Washington, but part of me really, two guys like from the East, I don't like to pick sides or anything, but I really find myself rooting for Wayne Simmons.
Yeah,
I really do. Like for my time doing Between the Benches and the years here. To me, he was like the greatest Flyer through that era.
Yeah.
For me, like just unbelievable to help me with interviews. He knew that I wasn't, by nature a broadcaster. Like, we all go into training after hockey to do it. So I was really appreciative of him, having him as a reliable guy. When we were up 5 or down 3 at the end of a game, Simmer was there. And so from that standpoint, I really think that what he's poured into this team and this league, I'd love to see him win.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, he was a legendary Flyer, and he obviously took a lesser role these past couple of years. But he is he's one of a kind. He's one of the last standing, real legitimate tough guys to still play. Still can obviously play the game, but adds that element of toughness to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He comes. I mean, he comes into Philly, right? And you got exact.
Mops him up.
And there's Simmer at the end, like in a game that's kind of out of reach, and he's like, Let's do this. We'll do it. He just doesn't, we're Simmer. He don't care.
Yeah,
right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, that's one of those. He's one of those guys too. Like I see Simmer walking. We see him before games, and the joke was, "Geez, he looks like he's got a pair of some dental floss hanging off his
amazing.
Shorts."
Yeah, right.
His legs are like that, right? And then he's the last guy you'd ever want to mix it up with out there. Guys don't know sometimes. They're like, "Oh man, I found out the wrong way." That reputation's already way ahead of him now. But at one time,
oh yeah,
found out the hard way.
Realize how explosive he is until he starts
and how strong he is on his skates.
Oh yeah, I mean, great balance.
Like you said, I mean, just his little legs, like my legs are the size of Simmer's. They're
thin
legs,
long, thin legs. Yeah, just amazing strength he had too.
Yeah,
core strength. Yeah,
what an amazing attitude though too. Going towards the end of his career and fighting more than he ever has. Like even in his prime, he was obviously scoring 30 goals a year there, playing power play and the whole bit. He was fighting, but not as much as he has. And I understand he's taking a lesser role, but to show up and do that.
After he's had a celebrated career.
Yeah, right. This is not an easy thing to do. I can tell you for myself. Like, as I started fighting more, I was like, I want to fight less. Like, I would love to fight less, and not have to having to prove myself,
I get that a lot, Riley, too. I guess I ask you guys, I talk to a lot of these tough guys, and I know we're going to talk about what's going on with that, but it's funny. I talk to a lot of tough guys at the end of their careers, and some of them almost, and I wonder about you, are like, man, I look back some days, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you see the human part of the NHL enforcer, or the American, the hockey enforcer, and what they really thought. We always thought they were the guy that was loving that waiting on that fight. That was really never the case.
Yeah.
You had a few guys that loved it.
Yeah, very few, I think.
But there's some guys that really did it as a job. And they were good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wears on you, man. Like, there's nothing normal about fighting, especially in hockey where you're fighting, back in the day, you're fighting upwards to 30 times a year. It wasn't like you're fighting, boxing, UFC, you're fighting 2 or 3 times a year. It's emotionally draining. Even the games that you didn't fight, you're amping yourself up to fight. You know what I mean? How many times pots of coffee?
You were always
I
was always
can't speak at any level like you guys, but I will say this is and I always looked at it like the worst part of the fight actually wasn't the fight.
100%.
It was the lead up of
100%.
looking at the sheet like, okay, does he want to go tonight? Does he not want to go?
That's exactly it. That was the hardest part.
I've said to you a bunch of times, I think, thank God I never had to do anything like that because I'm 0-4-1 in my off ice. In my life, I'm 0-4-1.
I'd love to see that one though.
It was a tie. But I think if I had to fight like that, I'd rather it be like you hit me and we just turn around and we go.
Just go.
Not like, hey, dog, you want to go? And everyone's standing up, ding, ding, ding. You know, they do the bell in the arenas, and then you got to square off. Like I don't know, like you guys did that stuff.
So I don't have like a Riley Cote fight card under me, but I will tell you the most human story to my side of it was I had a fight against Jeff Audrey. It was a good
tough
fight,
dude, man.
But what was great about that was I'd never thought of it. I never had to think before the game that I was going to have to fight, real farm tough guy, Western Canada, and I did well. Here's the other side of it. We were playing back. That was in the fall. We were playing back in Colorado in like early March, and Dave Brown comes up to me about 2 weeks before that game. He's the assistant coach now. He says, "Hey, make sure you hit the weights and get ready." He goes, "Because that Odgers is probably going to come back for you. You did a pretty good job on him in Philly. He won't forget."
Oh, no.
What are you telling me this for?
Yeah, right?
Fucking tell me 10 minutes before the game. Don't tell me 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know,
So
right?
I'm up in the winter.
Come on.
Push-ups, dumbbell curls.
Oh, man.
So I'm going up to the game, right? So, we're at the old arena. It wasn't even the new one yet. And I'm out on the ice, and I'm like, kind of half. I looked at Odgers. That's all I couldn't even think of the game. So I'm thinking and then the flow started, and the game picked up, and I was out on the ice against him, and nothing happened.
So you're like, thank God.
But 2 weeks of just pure hell, hey?
You're lucky after the game.
The first time.
Yeah, right?
He didn't want anything to do with it.
Created some space for yourself,
So, but you know what? But anyway, my point is that that was a totally different experience, and having an understanding for what you guys did.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. It's different when you just said, Doc, drop the gloves and go.
Yeah.
Never think it's okay. You get punched, you don't even feel the punches in the fight.
Yeah.
It's the lead up. That's the part that guys get
100%.
That any human being would not want to have to forecast.
Yeah. And that's what gets really old is the lead up to the fight and just the thinking about it. You're getting in the mind all the time. You're in the mind, and once you get in the fight, you're in the fight. You're in like the flow. Like now it's intuition. You're no longer thinking anymore. You're just fighting, right?
Right.
And that's like you said, like the best part of it all is the fight. That was the easiest part of it. As physically demanding as it was all the the mind game of it all was just like, again, when's it going to happen? Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
How is this going to go down? I'd almost rather them dinging the bell, saying 10 minutes into the first period, you're fighting.
Yes.
Versus like having to think, is it, is this the time? Is this
Watching
it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Someone get hit, I got to get over it.
Overthinking every piece of it.
It's funny, dog. You said that about Brownie because the quick story about him, my dad told me when he got called up from Maine, obviously way back in the day. He gets there, and everybody knew he was scary, big left-hander. So McCammon, I guess the coach, Bob McCammon, God rest him, passed away. He hadn't played him yet in the game, and something had happened, and they had a face-off right beside the bench, and Brownie goes, "Hey, man, if I ever get out there, I'm going to fucking kill you." And all the guys are like, "Put him out there, Cagey." So he throws him out there, and that was the beginning of the Brown Dog, who eventually was the heavyweight
big
for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say one of the top heavyweights in the league.
It was that 80s crowd of the Probert, Brownie, Kosar.
Crowder,
Some scary dudes.
Yeah, it was a different animal back then.
Brownie, he's awesome. What a good man he is. God,
yeah, he's a great
awesome.
guy. He was my first roommate, too.
Oh, is he really?
When I came in, yeah. So it's... He was something else, but I mean, you talk about you go back. Where I actually looked at other guys like my first year in the Spectrum. I was a college kid, and I came in, and when I went in, I was so glad I got to experience the Philadelphia Spectrum in so many ways because I really did see guys with Philly flu. I saw the fans over top of you.
They were right on top of you, man.
It was just an incredible building, and with that kind of the Philadelphia Flyers mantra of the tough guys, and Dave Brown was the king of that, at that era. So,
for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Before we jump into one of your new projects, talk a little Flyers hockey.
How did we get here?
Yeah. How did we get
here?
Well, you know what? I think the problem is, when you have a team like this in a salary cap era, is you can't be wrong about what happened. So the Nolan Patrick first. I can go back well before that.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of gives they look at the team. first of all, one team wins, right?
Right.
At the end of the year, and 30 others saw some teams go home, and they're trying to retool to figure out what happened. Whether you're the last place team in the league or you were eliminated in the semis of the playoffs. But I look back at the Flyers. First of all, many things have happened here. The core of guys they have here, as advertised, were not as good as advertised.
I agree.
Provorov, Konechny, they're not bad players. Don't get me wrong, but they're not Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon. That's why the Patrick miss to me became such a big thing, because you've essentially had the number 2 pick, and all 4 of the next 5 guys are all ended up being will have amazing NHL careers. A couple of guys stumbled, just like Pettersson had a rough year this year in Vancouver, not that by the standards he had. So then you combine a bad product. You've had Carter Hart too, who I think is a good goalie, and I think is going to build himself up again with the right coach in here to kind of rebuild whatever's going on up there. But when you see that rubber coming at you and that many chances coming at you, you're not going to get helped a lot, right? Like there's a lot of deficiencies here. I mean, you had Keith Yandel this year. No disrespect to him. I know he's a great guy. He shouldn't have been playing in the league this year. I mean, no offense to him. I mean, he maybe the power play, but I mean, he was minus 41, 42, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those, and again, he's had an amazing career. He played over 1,000 games. It would be like me saying my last year that I shouldn't have been playing, but I was still in the league, and I probably wasn't good enough, or at the time even physically good enough to be playing at that time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things happened in the years, but to me the biggest problem with this whole Flyer team is the problems and the animosity they've created themselves with their own fan base.
Yeah.
And that's the business side. I mean, like when you look at what they've done in Philadelphia, doing things for the sheer purpose of just doing them. Like, okay, so you come out, it started off, the business side wanted to put an implant, like their handprint on what's going on here. So let's remove the statues.
Yeah.
Start cleaning statues out of the side of the building. And then we're going to start firing alumni. We're going to start making all these changes. We're going to start turning the history of this team, of what was once great by a private owner that loved his fans and his players and the community more than anything. You put a corporation in, and they've destroyed the fabric of what Philadelphia Flyers organization is. You know, I've said during the year, you can be a shitty team. It happens.
Right.
But you cannot devolve into a shitty organization.
100%.
And that's what's happened. And until somebody decides that they need to take this horse by the reins and make the change and say, let's get rid of whatever this is, it's not working. It's not working. So, you know, I mean, look at guys. I mean, Riley, you were there in 2006, 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were the worst team in the league, the Flyers. This was my first year out of hockey.
Yeah.
They were still getting 19,000 people a game.
Yeah, I've said that too.
Yeah.
We were, in the 40 years of the team, it was the worst year, but the place was sold out every night.
And the other thing too, and I say this, you know, because I don't think it's a huge issue, but it's something that they have to repair. The physicality of the league has hurt attendance, whether they want to believe it or not. The lack of physicality,
right? 100%.
You know, I mean, you hear it from the pundits, the hockey people, and someone's going to say, "Oh, look at these old dinosaurs." No, no, I'm sorry. It's what sold. It's what worked. Yeah. They had a beautiful blueprint of an amazing league that forced you to compete, forced you to be competitive. Fans were sitting on a powder keg every night. That doesn't mean that we are advocating for line brawls or bench brawls. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm advocating and asking and demanding that they find a way to increase the competitiveness in the league, in a league that's no longer competitive. I love the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Guys, the regular season is a disgrace. It's becoming like the NBA.
Yeah.
And if they don't be careful, the Philadelphia Flyers standard, whether they have a good team or not, is never going to fill that building ever again. I don't care what the level of talent is like. And let me have a Stanley Cup winning team, but you got to get it right.
Yeah.
And right now, the crap they're selling, the gritty, the extra gritty, all that stuff. Nobody wants that. You know what they want? They want to talk to the guy in their seats. They want a good team. They want to see a hard-nosed Philadelphia team, because that's what this city's been about. Blue-collar, hard-nosed. They want a Stanley Cup in the infancy of their franchise, and that's transcended through generations.
Yeah.
And you know what else? They want to listen to organ music. They want to talk to their people, the guy next to them at games. They just want to go watch a hockey game. They don't want to see some big, giant, orange mascot obstructing their view and trying to put a focus on himself.
Yeah, right.
You know? So grow up, get with the picture. And the people that do work in the corporate side, they probably shouldn't be if they're not from Philadelphia. This is a unique, special sports town.
I agree.
And you can't have people from the outside coming in here and putting their handprint on it when they have absolutely zero clue what they're doing. And those people have zero clue what they're doing.
Yeah, you said so many real things there. And do you think they deliberately blew up the culture of Flyers?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it almost
the lady
seems
that
like
runs
it.
Valerie Camille. I mean, when she came in, she said Flyers fans will have to adapt.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Adapt to what? To your handprint put on the team? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that means. Does it mean we're going to put a drape over a statue and then rip it out and bring it out, and then have an entire community try to get it in their towns?
Yeah. It's almost because it almost seems deliberately done to erase the history of the Flyers so they could put this new corporate new age fingerprint on it. But like there's got to be a way to have both, like still preserve the alumni and honor them, have them around the rink. They don't even want to come anymore.
Well, you're right. The alumni doesn't really. I mean, I know they're trying to do stuff, but Brad Marshy does a great job.
Amazing job.
Like I said this year, guys. Let's be honest with you. I think the Flyers organization themselves, like in the business, I know that they're still there and they're going to run their team how they run it. But for the alumni events, the Hall of Fame weekend in the game. Just get out of the way. Let the alumni people handle it that know what they're doing.
Right.
Don't try to be involved anymore. I think a lot of those people are more there for their photo ops than they are anything else.
Sure.
Someone said, remind them of a human photo, a walking photo op. It's like, here, let me jump in any picture I get into.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, you know what? It's this organization's about way more than that. And I know at the end of the year, I think they tried to do some things differently. But it looked like it was just because a bunch of people were complaining about it. It's like, let's try something different.
Yeah, I agree. The essence of the Flyers has been lost, and
it kills the fan base.
It kills the fan base, and then again, the product on the ice. Like there's no identity. Losing games happens, but like you can lose a right way and you can lose a wrong way. And I think like there was no fight, not even without the fighting. It was like there's just no fight.
And even Atkinson said like they're too easy to play against.
Too easy.
Team, and and then people go down. They don't want to, and then the Flyers were dealing with stuff too in the city stuff this year, like with the Vax cards and the masks and stuff. And don't think for a second that didn't hurt. That absolutely hurt.
Yeah,
sure,
for sure.
I mean, I went down to the Thanksgiving Day game, guys, the Black Friday game, and I drove in with my son and Rick, my buddy, you guys know, and I left. There was 1,000 people waiting at the door to get in. I'm like, I'm not staying here. The first period was 5 minutes.
They had to get through.
They were checking everything, the digital tickets.
Yeah.
And I left.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not staying for this. So we went and ate Mexican food.
There you go.
We watched it on TV.
And watched it.
Like guacamole. I wanted to ask your opinion. If Ellis hadn't gotten hurt and Coots, say those two guys, how different is the season?
They're closer, but they're still down at the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you're talking about a Ryan Ellis if you got the kid healthy all year. We're a better team with him. We're a better team with Coots. I still don't think that would have made them a top 6 team.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think it mattered.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been pretty straightforward. I mean, I even said it. Maybe that's why I'm not working there anymore. But I mean, I've said they probably should have in terms of what they were at for rebuilding or retooling. To me, I mean, I know some people would say you're crazy for saying. I think some people are saying you're right. They should have traded Giroux 5 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah.
Yep. He was here at the time for 7 or 8 years already.
Yeah.
You'd had a glimpse already of the 5 previous playoff windows, and I think that just for an asset retention,
right.
If you're going to trade, I'm not saying get rid of him for any kind of personality thing, maybe 4, right? So you go back, but you're saying there came a window, and I know you couldn't get him to easily buy into that because he had that no movement, and he was not willing to move that. I mean, there's a way around that. If your GM's really wants to move a guy, I think you can. But I think that's where it had to start, and to me, that's where the retool had to begin because I think with a guy like that, the assets you could get at a point where his peak is so high.
Yeah.
I was always worried about the younger guys coming up with G. There's nothing about G and his talent or what he's done in Philadelphia. He's had a wonderful career here. I always just felt like he was far enough along with Voracek where the other guys were still trying to catch up as they were newcomers in the league. So there was that separation in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
I just from an asset, just from trying to get assets back or younger players getting younger. I know it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So if he'd won 3 cups, nobody was trading Crosby, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. So what does a retool look like this offseason? Like, what does that look like in your eyes? Because, I mean, that word keeps to be thrown around.
Well, I'm a believer more in a rebuild.
Rebuild, 100%, yeah.
Well, a rebuild means – so when I look at a rebuild, I actually look at the Rangers in a lot of ways. And they got a little bit lucky. Like, they had to go get Panarin. They made a trade. Remember I saying like getting rid of guys like a Zibanejad came in a few years ago.
Yeah.
That was a guy that they kind of kept in. They knew he'd be a long-term piece, and you have to have one of those. I think coming in, Panarin became a good piece. Fox ended up coming out and being like a revelation in a lot of ways.
100%.
Jacob Trouba had a better year this year than he did previously, and then like Shesterkin, they got what you think is the mirror replica, what you're hoping in Carter Hart, right? Shesterkin had an amazing year. He may even win the Hart Trophy. There's people talking about. He won't, but he's going to be up there.
In the top,
So I think that's what it looks like. But you have to be patient, and I think you have to let the fan base know that, hey, this is the path we're traveling right now.
Yeah,
you got to be careful. There's the word, like I don't know if GMs think about it. The word retool is completely different than rebuild.
Yeah.
I don't know if the fans here want to hear about a retool.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors, right?
Like, we've been retooling here for 8 years.
Yeah, you're better off being honest with them and rebuilding.
And I've watched every bit of it, from broadcasting. I've sat ringside. I've sat in I haven't missed a Flyers game since 1995, 94. And so that's why I have an opinion on it, and that's the things I've seen. I'm not a GM. Some GM may tell me to go pound sand somewhere. I don't care, but I've been around. I have a hockey opinion like you guys do, and those are the things that I think I would have done. And I think that I think they just kept spinning their wheels for too long.
Yeah,
and I think that was one of the problems.
Yeah, with the free agency this summer, like, what are you targeting Johnny Gaudreau?
I'm not. But I mean, again, you need to get your points right. Like, you got to have a skilled player in here. Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, I'm looking along the lines of, like, I'm looking forward to having Couturier back.
Right.
That's a guy, like, I really think he's like the primo carnera up front. I love, like, Johnny Gaudreau's had a really good playoff. And he'd been questioned years before about whether what kind of a playoff player he was. He had an amazing year this year. I'm not even sure he's the best player on that line.
Right.
To be honest, between Elias Lindholm and Matthew Tkachuk, they do a lot of heavy lifting.
Sure.
And he does a lot of the setup, but I want a guy. I'm looking guys like somebody that set the tone, barrel right through the middle of that ice, get to the net, change the mindset of the team. As we said, too easy to play this year. I like big center icemen.
Yeah.
Guys that get through, play the body. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't want him here. I don't know what's out there, Riley, and I don't know really what a guy's chances are in terms of where they want to go. Yeah. It makes sense because he's from here.
Right.
That's a lot of money, though. Again, is Johnny Gaudreau, if you overpay him, which you will, or you maybe give him a fair contract, you make a lot of money come here, is he going to make this team immediately a playoff contender? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably very few players that would do that, right?
With this group
right now.
I mean, and like Mike Yeo at the end of the year, I mean, you could say what you want about the coach. Mike Yeo, not me, not you guys. He said Scotty Bowman and Toe Blake couldn't win with this team.
Right.
He did say that.
He did say that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's an indictment. You're basically telling your GM, you got a terrible team here, and we weren't going to win with it.
Yeah.
No one else said that. He did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're going to have, is Barry Trotz the modern day version of Toe Blake or Scotty Bowman? He might be. So why would you want him here?
Yeah,
if he's not going to win with these guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Where do you think the coaching change is headed? There's a few names thrown around. You said Barry Trotz.
Yeah, Barry Trotz will be one of them.
Yeah, I know, like John Tortorella's
talk.
I mean, do you think bringing back some Flyers culture into the mix, or is it?
I like talk. He's been around. Like, it's not like he's been implanted here for this whole year, and now they're going to elevate him to coach. I mean, he's been in Arizona. He's been won Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh. So I think he's got a pretty good pulse on what he has. I think a lot of coaches now, guys get hired. If you talk to GMs, they hire coaches now tailored to, work with the modern day athlete.
100%.
That's true.
Better communicators, more like
like when I used
ground level.
We had a bad game. I'd have a GM call me in and be like, "You were horse shit last night, and I don't want to fucking ever see it again."
Yeah.
Now, if a guy has a rough game, he's like, "Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Can I help you?"
Remember,
like,
Clarky coming down the one night telling you guys you better put wheels on your homes because I'll get rid of every fucking one of you.
Every one of you guys should buy a trailer and put fucking wheels on it because you're all in motion. That was rough. I mean, you had like a GM like come down to the locker. I remember one time he came down, he ragged like 10 guys, and I was sitting there and I'm like, oh boy, I hope I get away with this. Like, he just kind of sidesteps. So I'm sitting next to his yard, right? We're half dressed. We played Dallas that night. That was a 12 in a row that we'd lost it back in '99, I think, or going into the 2000 playoffs. And he gets around, and I'm just trying to like keep my head down, like look at the curve. And all of a sudden I hear, and fucking you, Bundy. He goes, poor Desjardins having to play with you every night. And I'm like,
damn it. That was hiding.
Oh man,
that was classic.
I remember him coming in. It got so bad with the Phantoms, he actually came down. Homer brought him down, Clarkie, to talk the one day when we had Pavel Brendel.
Oh.
And we had this one kid, Pletka, who had a lot of skill. I actually think he scored the one game he got called up. He actually scored. His name was his last name was Pletka. And anyway, Clarkie comes down. Everybody's in the room, trainers, everyone, and he just goes, "Okay, first off, guys, Pletka, you're done." He goes, "Go upstairs. Diana will give you everything you need. You're going home. You quit on this team. You're out of here." And I got everybody's attention, right? And he goes, and he looks over at Pavel Brendel and goes, "And Pavel, you're on fucking speed dial, kid," like that. And Brendel goes like, he goes, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad he didn't see that. He gave him the old,
he had the worst attitude.
But he was bad. But
I remember Johnny LeClaire one night. We were going out on the ice. And it was, I sit and wait. Like, the guys are huddling, waiting to go for a warm-up. And Brendel's there, and he's like, Johnny LeClaire goes, "Come on, boys. Let's feed off of Pavel's energy for this one tonight."
Is that not the truth, too, though? This guy didn't give a fuck about anything, man. Oh, my God. That's fucking great. Let's feed off his energy.
Oh, man. Well, moving on from Flyers, Bundy, you got a pretty interesting project that you recently signed on to. Why don't you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, Ice Wars. I'm heading out to Edmonton May 21st. I'm going to be out there all next week preparing for it. They're treating it like – so it's a new event. You guys had AJ Galante on. And what's really cool with the whole how it happened was I got a call about 2 months ago from a gentleman named Charlie Nama. And he says, "Chris, how are you?" He says, "My name's Charlie, and I'm looking for a broadcaster for an event I have coming on." And Joe Watson is from my hometown of Smithers, British Columbia.
No way.
And he said,
Joe Watson.
He says, "Well, Bundy was a really good announcer for the team, and he'd do a hell of a good job. He likes to talk, and he'd add some color and character to it." So I said, "Well, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you." So as more came on, I learned about the players involved and what this was, and talked to some people. And I said, "You know what? Let me do this." So Ice Wars, I'm going to be, and talking AJ, what's really interesting with the concept, it's on pay-per-view. This is a big thing. It's pay-per-view on fight.tv, May 21st. So it's 9 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock out there. We're hoping one of those, we don't deal with the Battle of Alberta, but we'll move on to that after, which could be staring us down. But you know what? I really think, though, guys, in terms of the culture of fighting, and, talking to other guys, Riley, you've been in it, but there's a whole culture outside of hockey rinks, too. That guys, we have one guy who's fighting. His name's Hunter Warner. He was a hockey player, signed by the Wild at 18 years old. He's a professional boxer now.
No way.
That's what he does. Yeah, he quit hockey to be a heavyweight boxer. Wow. So he's trying to train in that. So there's a culture out there. I know the game. As we were talking about fighting earlier, and how the NHL is trying to change the thoughts of the concussions. In many ways, Gary Bettman almost denies that concussions even exist. Yeah. I'm not one of those guys. I've had concussions or from playing hard over the years. Never had one from a fight. But that was one of the things. But, when I look at, I think that was a big thing with Ice Wars. I'm excited about it. There's a cast of characters. Riley, I could tell you, guys like yourselves were always the best guys in the locker room. The guys that I always had the affinity, to hang out with, to want to be around. You guys were the most real guys. And so when I got involved with AJ and Charlie and some of the cast of characters, Frank the Animal. Yeah. Frank and me have been friends, since he was here in Philly. So it's just, I think it's going to be a neat event. I think that the really interesting thing, guys, and I know, is everybody's fighting with somebody in the world. Yeah. Whether it's someone said a couple uncles or a couple aunts on Facebook going at it over some, Joel Embiid's playoff performance. Or James Harden maybe not showing up for Game 6.
Taking
or
3 shots or something.
One in the second half, but who's talking basketball? Yeah, right. But anyway, you know what? My point is that I'm a guy that Riley probably always been the same, colorful, good locker room guy, and I'm going to carry that out there. There's a lot of the WWE theme to it. With AJ, he's been a fan of WWE. 100%. Vince McMahon. Yeah. He travels with them sometimes. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. So this is something that I think the first thing people would say sometimes is, what about the safety? Mm-hmm. And my attitude is, you know what? Our safety standards actually exceed that of the National Hockey League. They have 4-ounce MMA gloves on. That was my biggest thing. You know, no one ever wants to see anybody get hurt no matter what they're doing. But I tune in every month for that MMA, you know, UFC 260 or whatever it is. We all have millions and millions of people do. And I think AJ said it best, and I did too, the more I progress along the road. It's not for everybody.
Right.
You know, some people won't like it, but there are
watch
people
it.
I think a lot of people are going to like it.
There's a lot of conflict, you know, in the world we're in, and these guys love doing it. You know, there's a prize for them. But as I said, the safety thing was my biggest question coming out of it. And they have the leather strapped helmet's going to be bucketed right up, like tight under the chin. The gloves, no punching on the ice. So we have really taken, and AJ and Charlie have to make sure the safety is
100%, because it needs to be a sanctioned event, right? I mean,
it's a sanctioned event at River Creek Casino in Edmonton.
Okay.
Like I'm so excited to be going out to Alberta. I lived in Calgary for a year in the Olympic team, so it's just a great chance to get around really great people. Again, people that I know are going to be great guys. There's some cool judges that are part of it. Sean McMorrow, I think he's had 500 fights in the minors. That's 500
That's
fights.
crazy, man.
I mean, just think about it. That's almost fighting every single day. And if you go down the list, I'll post them. Like, there's some of the characters, like, I mean, you know, 43 fights in 40 games, 7 post-game majors. Like, they're real characters, you know, like, and then the nicknames, like the Hitman and
the Jawbreaker,
the Beast. But, I mean, these are the things I think people like. I think they're going to see quite a show. And I know that the best part about it, guys, some really good people around the event. Excited about it.
Are you guys? I wonder if because it's kind of has a WWE feel a little bit. Are they going to do promos? Are the players going to get to do? You know, are you going to be the
weigh-ins, the stare downs?
Are you going to be Gene Okerlund?
Yeah. I always do the mad dog.
I like how you used to always like jump when a guy would say something he didn't think, right? You know,
to do the mean. But that's someone said, like, what do you like? I said, I'm probably going to be like Jim Ross. Like, and I think that's what our desk is going to be, very similar.
100%.
Ringside, like, by the whatever it is they do in wrestling, by the ring. This is ringside, not ringside.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So I've been ringside before, and we're gonna have fun. It's gonna be fun. The guys are the combatants are excited about it. The judges are. We have a Hall of Fame night. Frank the Animal will be going.
Are you in the Hall of Fame?
No, I'm not in the Hall of Fame for the fight. I can actually very humbly say, no, I will never be in that Hall of Fame. Riley Cote, though, you never know. Riley Cote would be the only one who'd qualify in this room for that.
Might make a comeback. Yeah. Be a judge maybe next time.
Oh, you'd be a judge. You get called out.
Until some guys goes up to skinny Riley and goes, you're up next.
Yeah, exactly. $1.80 later, and 240 pounders again.
We had a guy, I think Travis Levitsky, 6'3". I saw his card the other day, 6'3", 318.
Oh wow. Yeah, no thanks.
How you doing?
No thanks. I'm past that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But anyway, it's gonna be cool. And you're right, Derek. There's a lot of that WWE flair to it. The Hall of Fame to start. So we're making an event. It's a new combat sport.
Yeah.
But but it's not. Because hockey fighting's been around for over 100 years, right?
Yeah.
It's older than MMA. I mean, people might say, well, karate and jiu-jitsu and all those, ancient
martial arts.
Asian martial arts, and they're much older, but there's something about a good old Canadian hockey fight that I still piques people's interest
100%.
even in these leagues, and I don't think that'll ever change. And I think if you ask the public in general, what's the one thing you'd love to see back in hockey more of? I'd love to see that sitting on a powder keg. Not necessarily begging that it happens, just the possibility.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that accountability.
I said to AJ, we had him on. I'm like, you ever seen anyone in their seats when there's a fight? I mean, there usually aren't.
No,
there usually aren't anyone in their seats when there's a fight. So, this is going to be really cool. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this thing goes.
I'm looking forward to it. I know. Thanks for your support, guys. Again, it's something that's I think is going to do amazing. I really do. I think people are going to tune in. I think they're going to enjoy it. We're going to have some great music stuff coming in as well. So it's going to be a really cool night at the River Cree and just in Enoch, Alberta, just outside Edmonton. It's 5 minutes from the West Edmonton Mall, apparently.
Okay.
So, so it's going to be a pretty cool event, and AJ's great. Like, I mean,
he really is.
He's really has done an incredible job with his effort. We've got some great people. Like Cato Kalin is one of the founders. Remember Cato Kalin?
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
Yeah, like from the old,
How did he end up in this?
Well, yeah, so he's friends with Charlie, and he's like a big player in Hollywood. That's what I first said, too. I'm like, someone said, Cato Kalin's. I'm like, Cato Kalin? I'm like, isn't that the guy
OJ?
I said, isn't that the guy that bought OJ the Big Mac like an hour before that whole thing happened? And I'm like, holy Jesus. I said, they talk about coming with the world coming around.
Yeah, I know, right?
But what an unbelievable guy. Like, I've talked to him 4 or 5 days, just an incredible person. And so full of energy and stuff. And yeah, he's one of the founders too. So the Galante family, just really good people too.
Yeah.
You know, they bring a lot of, you can see they bring a lot of people in that weren't, you know, that work for the Danbury Trashers, and they have long memories. These guys, like really passionate about, and they have a lot of care for the hockey community and the people that are involved in it.
Yeah, 100%. And AJ is like a natural born promoter, man. Like he's born for this, you know, between you say the wrestling and the boxing, and then like making it a hockey event. I mean, or a hockey-centric event. Yeah.
And it's so funny. He talks about Philly, you know, like we want to do something. We always talk about bringing something to Philly.
Bring it to
Philly's
Philly.
the fight capital of the world, whether they want to believe it or not. But we were saying about just how fun, like Philadelphia. He says, you know, he goes, I do boxing. He goes, I got these good boxers, you know, come from Connecticut or New York. And he goes, and then they want to fight a guy in Philly who's like, you know, 13-10, and it looks good. He goes,
yeah,
13-10 Philly fighters, it's not as matchup you want for your guy coming from there.
I heard him say that on your show, and he actually repeated it when we talked to him. He was like, just don't take that fight.
You just don't take it. Yeah. So that's a reputation. Again, Philly has as really. In a lot of ways, this is boxing on ice.
Yeah,
it's essentially what it is. You know, it doesn't have you're not going to see a Darnell Nurse headbutt.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're going to fight with honor, and that's what it is. You know, very similar to MMA style, and we'll have refs. We have medical doctors on standby, so full operation, and I'm really excited, guys.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this thing turns out. Hopefully, it's like he's like AJ says, it's not gonna be a one-off event. Like, you know, bring this thing to Philly, bring this place to some old school markets. Yeah, exactly. Bundy the promoter.
Oakland,
yeah, right.
Gene Okerlund,
Tony Schiavone. Let me tell you something, Tony Schiavone.
Turn into the Paul Bearer too.
Paul Bearer.
That'd be something else.
Oh my God.
Well,
good.
Yeah, man, we wish you the best in that project
guys.
there. I know you're a perfect fit for it.
I'll be carrying your spirit with me around all those memories.
Thank you.
Times,
Yeah, absolutely.
All those guys, yeah.
You're shifting gears a little bit. Another passion project of yours, business of yours, Pennsylvania Recovery Center. Talk a little bit about that and how you're helping people out.
So, you know what? Last year was very much a trial and error year for us. Finding out about getting people in with locations, just kind of going through the gamut. We decided to change some people at the end of the year, and so I merged with Pennsylvania Recovery Center. We were limitless.
That's right.
We're still the same place in Fishtown, but now we have an access to another facility in Phoenixville.
Okay.
So we kind of got the other side of Philly, and then we got down by the river in Fishtown. So this is really, guys, more in the last year and a half, probably more than I even talked to you when you first started this. I've really engrossed myself more into the community with it. I'm doing a lot more speaking. I'm having a lot more confidence coming out. It's hard sometimes when when you come out and you admit, hey, I had an issue. And but I realize now at the end of the day, the only way for me to make an impact on people is to share that story.
Yeah, be vulnerable.
Continue to share it. It's almost like I strip my clothes every time I do it but that's how you get your message across to people and have them understand, like, yeah, there's been people like myself. There's, I can't begin to tell you, like, we have the amount of lawyers or doctors you see with the same type of issues.
Yeah, sure.
And so it doesn't matter. I mean, so why would a professional athlete, which we all know there's plenty of addiction issues that have happened with athletes over the decades in pro sports.
Yep.
But my goal is now to get those people into treatment, whether they need a 30, 60, 90-day rehab. My thing with Pennsylvania Recovery Center is the aftercare. The aftercare is still, to me, the most important thing. When you go away to a rehab, I do work with, I think they're one of the best in the world, is Karen Recovery in Wernersville. Like, we're really lucky to have places like that around. Mm-hmm. When they go there for, say, 30 days and they're in their housing, you're safe. Like, if you're using heroin or you're an alcoholic, you're going to go in there, they're going to dry you out, and you're going to get, you're going to go on your walk to sobriety for 30 days. The problem is when you leave there again, you're going to go home, you're going to pass the same liquor store that you drove your car by every single day for the last 10 years. You're going to maybe see your drug dealer or know that he's still in that same spot. Yeah. So it's being able to live life in so many ways like that, to be able to handle and defend what may still be going on in your mind, even though you got 30 days or 60 days under your belt.
Yeah.
So that's what I want people to know. Like, I've been over to Kensington and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about a wake-up call. It looked like a war zone.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's just like, and I think to myself, my God, this is Philadelphia.
Like, how is this happening? How
in America?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, people, like, and it's a lot of drug use in Kensington.
Sure.
But what I have seen on top of that is the amount of people making a difference, trying to do things. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of love and compassion in this city.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that will put themselves out there. You know, I'm lucky when my journey of recovery, and I say this, you know, humbly and gratefully, I'm so lucky that I was a broadcaster those years. Like, you know, I got it, and I stayed true to myself. I stayed focused. So from that standpoint, you know, broadcasting and working with the team afterwards was really a blessing. Kept me on my straight track.
Yeah.
But now it's time for me to branch off. I never forgot the pain I was in at the end. For me, I'd lost my sister in 2006, and my life for a while was really off the rails. So I had to own that. And I really feel now the best thing that I can do is to give back and let people know, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. You know, everybody has something wrong with them.
Sure.
And most people, probably almost all of them, don't want to talk about it.
You're right.
So the only way to do it is, like I said, strip your clothes off, be vulnerable, let people know the things I did. You know, I never hurt anybody at the end of the day. Like, you know, I was a drinker, you know, and nothing good comes from over drinking anyway. People know that. But, you know, I've changed my life. You know, my kids have been amazing. Like, I've just received one gift after another, you know, with their athletics, the people that they become. So for me, you know, I've been able to quantify that reward because I see what my kids are now.
Yeah.
And that was when I first came out. And I tell people this all the time. You know, you can, you know, if you're a parent of kids and you're struggling with addiction, you'll get your kids back if you do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So true.
You may not get all the other people you felt you damaged, but your kids will come back to you. And that's the great part for me, that my kids look at me now after, you know, 11 and a half years sober now, and I'm just dad. I might be dad the idiot. I might be dad the donkey, but I'm dad, and I'm not dad the drunk.
No.
And I always
dad,
look
the loving dad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And fun. And, you know,
fun,
like I can do. And that's why I say, like, with anything there is in sobriety, I can go on and make a video on Facebook to say, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I can come on a show like this and just be completely authentic for an hour and just say who I am, you know, whether right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
But those are, you know, I can go broadcast Ice Wars. You know, I can get out to Edmonton. I can do all these little things now. I can do a podcast. Come on here because I'm sober.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's my gift in life was to myself, was I didn't realize I had the struggles. But, you know, life, like I say, like Stallone said in one of those Rockies, you know, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
That's the truth.
You know, and sometimes you get pulled down to the ground, and it's a matter of pulling yourself back up out of that and being the best version that you were supposed to be of yourself. And that's what I try to do every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you have purpose, right? I mean, that's I have
purpose now.
Huge part of us as a spiritual being is having purpose, right? You got to have something to wake up in the morning to look forward to. And once you don't, I think that's where it gets hairy. You talked about the integration stuff. Like it's easy to go away for 30 days, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like a safe container.
Everybody's watching you.
Yeah, it's like the Bachelor effect. It's like you're going away, everything's provided for you, safe container. But then you got to go back into the real world and deal with stressors and the things that would prompt you to maybe sliding back down into that way of life, right? But if you have a purpose and something, you know, you said you had broadcasting, it's something to lean on, like actually gave you something. Yeah.
I mean, I get up, I go out and meet, I go speak at recovery centers, you know, for 30, 40 minutes at a time. I share my story of, you know, experience, strength, and hope. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, it's a give back. You know, I don't get too deep. You know, people say, oh, you don't get too deep. They say don't talk about AA and stuff. But, you know, I'm a step 1 and a step 12 guy. You know, I admit it, like I can never drink. Doesn't work, but step 12, also give back.
Yeah, 100%.
Get the message out and help that other person still suffer. There's a lot of people that are, and you may not know them. And that's the biggest thing, too. I don't know, maybe I've gotten a little softer in my old age, Riley. Maybe I haven't either, but I always tell people, you know, be kind to each other because 100%. You just never know where somebody else is at in that moment
That's
in time.
So true. It's such a valuable piece of information, yeah. Because everyone's going through their shit. You mentioned earlier, everyone's going through their shit. Everyone's a different part of the path, you know. So it's like
everybody has something wrong with them. You know, whether you're dealing with a financial thing. I mean, look at the mothers dealing with baby formula stuff.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Everywhere.
Exactly.
I read an article this morning. It's a real problem. Imagine that. So everybody's got some anxiety or angst over something in the world.
Yeah.
And it's how you deal with that.
100%.
And always asking for help. That's the other thing I tell people in recovery. If you're struggling, don't ever be ashamed or scared to ask for help. Just say, I need help.
Yeah.
And you're going to have people waiting for you. In droves. That's how it is. But everybody, the more you don't do it, then you become vilified because you continue with that same behavior.
I want to ask you your opinion on like preventative measures. We all talk about mental health, right? Everyone's throwing these terms around, but like I don't see a whole lot of solutions out there before you go down these dark paths. Like what would you tell a young kid that's dealing with the pressures of life? and trying to help preserve their mental health so we don't have to go down these dark paths and then have to actually engage in recovery, if we can avoid it if possible.
And that's the thing, the preventative measures, like I don't have the exact answer, Riley, and I don't think there's an exact medication that does that. I think it's being around the most positive environment you can be in.
100%, yeah.
But there's so many things now that just derail society in general. Video games, cell phones, internet. I mean, these are social media.
Yeah.
I tell kids now when I go out, I'm like, just be careful what you do.
Yeah.
Because social media can ruin your life on.
Well, yeah, they're tools, right? And they can be misused, and then it's like taking a hammer. It's great.
And that creates a mental health
right, 100%
process for a person because they say something and then they get hounded by 50 people, or 100 people.
You got to defend your character and all this other stuff.
Who you are?
Yeah, right.
So if you're gonna put something out there, stand by it.
Yeah, right.
And don't. That's probably the biggest lesson in life is the sooner you can forget about what people think about you.
That's the truth.
The way better off you're going to be in life because people are going to sometimes people just don't want to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that is so true, right? Yes. People just can't wait to jump on. Yeah.
So that's why I always tell you, have the most conviction you can in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in the good that you have.
Yeah, that's it.
And lean on that.
Yeah. Wise words, Bundy.
Yeah, I'm not a messiah, but
Dr. Bundy.
These are the words I say going on. I mean, again, and it's all from my own experience.
Yeah,
just from the things that I've gone through, and
that's what makes it genuine, right?
It does, and I don't want other players to go through it. It was hard on me physically, mentally, it was brutal. But
can't imagine.
But it was also at the end of the day, I didn't have to go through it. I did go through it, but it's probably my biggest form of pride, I guess, is me getting one day at a time, 11 and a half years almost, and I will have to do that again tomorrow too.
Yeah. Well, it gives people hope. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just one of those things.
We do recover.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
The body's designed to heal. The mind's designed to heal. Just got to nurture it and and nourish it and all those all the good things you're talking about and environment and people you're around, right? And positivity and mindset. All good stuff, man. Well, we appreciate you, Bundy.
Yeah,
everything you're doing.
Yeah, I love coming on, guys.
The recovery center, everything you're doing out in the community. You're banging the drum, being truthful, not sugarcoating shit. We love that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know any other way. I mean, I think it's a really good trait to have.
It's a great trait.
I think I developed it at maybe at the early part of my recovery. To be honest with you, I just you know what?
Fuck it.
I'm not. Well, let's
be honest.
It's
here,
a
right?
great thing. I mean, maybe. I mean, I've spoke pretty honestly about the hockey team for years. Maybe someone clearly didn't like it at the end of the day, but I didn't sell myself off to go lie to the fans about how good the team was when they sucked when they stunk for the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's why you're appreciated, because people want to hear the truth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Really. So, well, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Great show, guys. As always a huge fan of Nasty Knuckles. You guys are the best. Both teammates, great teammates, and love you both, guys.
Thanks love you too, brother.
Good luck May 21st.
Yes, can't wait.
May 21st, Enoch, which is Edmonton. 9 o'clock is we at Fight.tv. Ice Wars. Don't miss it.
Beautiful.
Do not miss it.
Thanks, Bundy.
Thanks,
Barb.
All right, big thank you to our friend Chris Therien, a.k.a. Bundy. What an amazing human. Oh, yeah. Appreciate him hopping on, spending some time in studio 2.0.
Yeah, it was nice to see him. Hadn't seen him in a little bit, and nice to have him here. A little different than when we had him on as a interview as far as his career and everything. And so it was nice to have him in and talk about these things he's got going. Man, he's a busy man as well, just like AJ.
No doubt.
Bundy's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but getting a lot of things done, and it's impressive, man. And really proud of him for his his recovery center.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I loved how he talked about that and, being able to tell his story and not be embarrassed. Hey, look, this happens. Everybody's got something wrong. We all know it. Like,
right.
You don't go around telling everyone, but he's got a really unique story. Knuckles, I'm going to drop you, Knux. I'm going to drop Knuckles. It's all right. So,
bud.
Knuckles, hey dude, he thinks we named it after him, so he wants to be in the show.
Oh yeah, well he wants a little love too, He's like,
wants some love.
Get him on the cam. Let's go.
Yeah, but he's come a long way, and he does a lot of good, man, and he's giving back to people.
Absolutely.
So, he the one good thing about Chris is that he says what he feels.
100%.
Sometimes it's like you're like, whoa, but I mean, he doesn't sugarcoat it, and
that's right.
Kind of gotta. I've always been
really respect that.
Yeah, I do too, and there's some things I could probably pipe up about, but I haven't yet, and I got to give him credit because he calls it out how he sees it, and I like that about him. I like it a lot.
No doubt.
It's
100%. And that's important too when you're doing work like he's doing with recovery and addiction. Obviously, like you have to be honest, right? I mean, you can't hide. And I think he talked about it. How he's over the years been more vocal and got more comfortable speaking his mind. And I think since he's been sober and everything. So I think there's a lot of lessons there in the episode. Especially being vulnerable and telling your story, right? I mean, it can help save a life and possibly more than one, because everyone's going through their version of their shit. So,
right, exactly.
Appreciate him.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I'm happy about him jumping on there with AJ with this.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see this.
Man. I can't wait this coming weekend. I've been looking at the fight cards rigs, and one stuck out to me. Kind of because of the nicknames, which I love they have.
Beautiful.
The one guy's name's Travis Check, I believe that's how you pronounce it, but his nickname is Loose Cannon. Huh,
ooh.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
right.
I think everyone in here is a loose cannon.
Right.
And the other guy is Bo Cornell, and his nickname is Jawbreaker, which would scare me.
Of course.
But what really stood out to me, the reason I'm bringing that up is because the Loose Cannon is 5'7", and he weighs 205. Okay, 205. Could you imagine me weighing 60 pounds more than I do right now?
Oh man, you have to do a couple cycles.
I'm gonna give myself 5'8".
Wow, you have to do a couple cycles, Nasty.
Satsy. I'm 5'8". With my shoes on. But the thing about it is. The thing, I'm actually concerned for the Jawbreaker for Loose Cannon, because the guy he's fighting, the Jawbreaker, Bo Cornell, is 6'3" and 218. Now, I can only imagine the reach advantage that the Jawbreaker has on this guy. Like, I mean, maybe this guy just gets right in there tight and just starts chucking. He doesn't give a shit, probably is the way it's going to be. Yeah. But these are the things that people probably aren't even looking at. But to me, I'm like, man, this guy, if he strings him out, not that I've done it, but I've seen you do it. I've seen 100 million fights. That guy's got a huge reach advantage.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's in trouble.
That's only one of the fights, but this is going to be amazing, man. I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah. Not to mention the guy, I'm not sure what his name is, but he's floating around 3 bills plus, like 318 or something like that. Yeah. He gets a hold of the Jawbreaker there, or Loose Cannon, he'll be in some trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I haven't seen yet, and I think it's up, but I like how it's all like the brackets or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's different weight divisions from the way they were talking, but this is going to be interesting, man. I'm really pumped for it. I think it's going to do really well.
I hope it does.
It'll just grow, I think. I mean, you're going to get more people that want to do this, So
yeah, I'd like to think so. It's entertainment. It's there's always going to be a market for fights, sanctioned fights, and this is just a unique version of that. So we'll see how it goes, and wish them all the best. All the fighters the best. All the judges.
Yeah,
Bundy.
Good luck. Nothing serious. No serious injuries.
Yeah,
hopefully.
exactly.
And, like he said, they've done a really good job preparing for that side of it medically. With the guys' helmets, staying on the glove. And, it's a good thing they have those gloves on, man. Riles, you got for a living, and it ain't fun. It's still going to hurt with a glove on. Doesn't matter. But, I wonder, Riggs, you may know, I wonder if, like, part of fighting in hockey is grabbing on and getting a good hold. Or,
I'm not sure if the gloves actually are the padded ones with finger holes, or if they're like closed. I would think that there would have to be some finger holes, right? Because I've sparred with those back in the day.
Yeah, you would think.
I don't know, like 4-ounce gloves with little. They must. I mean, I have a hard time believing they would be able to grab on without that.
Yeah, I would think so. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, you and me both, Nast. Well, that's it. It's episode 74 in the books.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in next week, episode 75. Until then, stay safe, knuckleheads.
See you, knuckleheads.